Hey Tarot Tribe, it's Dustin from A Modern Metaphysic Man, and today I wanted to hang out and share with you my top 5 tarot decks from 2018. These are decks that I acquired in 2018, not necessarily decks that were published or printed in 2018, so I just want to be clear about that. These are the top 5 decks that I just loved. I loved them when I got them. I loved working with them and reading with them. They're decks that I really connected with this year and that really spoke to me. And so I wanted to share those with you. I have done video reviews of 4 of the 5, so I'll be sure to post those in the description below so that you can check those out. And I'll try and do one of the one I haven't done pretty soon so that, you know, the collection is complete. So yeah, let's talk about my top 5 decks for 2018. So the first, or the fifth, the one in spot 5, is the Serpentfire Tarot. This is a deck that I received recently, and it really spoke to me because it has this sort of 80s like vintage camera Polaroid treatment to a lot of its cards. It's just a beautiful deck. It is very straightforward with its readings. It's no nonsense, which I like. It's a gilded deck, which is awesome. The backs are really nice. It's printed on a sort of glossy cardstock that is just stunning. And it's an amazing deck. It's just so nice. So yeah, I think the camera will focus on it if maybe. But the artwork is it's just so beautiful. I'm gonna try and get the reflection off of it a little bit. So yeah, it's a beautiful deck, and it has tons and tons and tons of symbolism in it, which I really love when decks include a lot of symbolism. Like this one has the lamp and the nightstand, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful deck. It's so well thought out. It's so well designed and crafted, and I really loved it. That tower card, it's just so pretty. So yeah, the Serpentfire Tarot in at number 5. And the inside of the box is actually really cool too. It has the Egyptian Eye of Horus, or Ra. So number 4 would have to be the Spolia Tarot. This is another independently published deck that I really fell in love with this year. It kind of takes its nods from the Etruria deck, if you're familiar with that, because it has the same sort of zodiac cards in it and elemental cards, which is really cool. And the artwork is amazing. It is a collage deck, and it's beautiful. It's some of the best tarot art, I think, out there right now. It's amazing. It's full of symbolism. It's full of meaning. It does follow the RWS system, as well as the Etruria system with the elemental cards and the zodiac, which is kind of cool. So, you know, take that for what it is. But yeah, it's a beautiful deck, and it gives just really clear readings. Here's one of the elemental cards. It's the fire card, and here's the Aquarius card. And I'll be sure to you know, like I said, link all of these decks down below so you can check out the full flip throughs if you're interested. Here's the world. But yeah, it's a beautiful deck, and it spoke to me instantly when I saw a review of it, and I was like, I need to have this deck. And I love it. So I'll put that one back in its home. And then at number 3 is the Efflorescent Tarot. This is a deck I got very recently, and it's a deck that has not disappointed in any way, shape, or form. It is what I would call a clone of the Rider-Waite-Smith. So it takes its sort of imagery and compositions directly from RWS, but it does have a whimsical art style about it, and the artist really made it her own. It is such a beautiful deck, and it's such it's a warm reader is what I call it. It always is very warm and sort of comforting. The backs of them, and first of all, the cards are huge. Like, these cards are massive. They are printed on a very glossy stock, which is fine. It doesn't bother me so much. But the artwork it's different, and it's whimsical, and it's beautiful, and I just love it. And I did get the colored version of this. There's a colored version and a black and white version, so you can kind of pick and choose there. She also has a coloring book, which I think is really cool. And there is also an oracle deck done by the same artist on her Etsy shop, and she also has now a brand new tarot deck that I want to check out. But yeah, the backs, I love the backs. The backs are just so cool. So yeah, that is the Efflorescent Tarot. It is, I don't know, it reads so well for me, and it is a deck that just really stood out to me the instant I got it, and I just really connected with it. So then, that means for number 2, we have the Textured Tarot. This is another independent deck. And in fact, all of my decks in my top 5 are independent decks. And I think that's really fitting for this year for me, because this really has been the year of independent decks for me. I've loved getting independent decks this year. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but all independent, and it's perfect. So this deck was a close contender for the number 1 spot. It's an amazing deck. It's so beautiful. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I hope I don't. The artwork is stunning. It's a collage deck, but it's probably the best done collage deck I have ever seen. And I've done a review of this, and I'll be sure to leave it. It's so moving. I connected with it immediately. It's a great sort of mix of modern and historical imagery. It's just powerful, and I love it. So yeah, that is my number 2, and again, a very close contender for the number 1 spot. I mulled over that quite extensively over the past week. And then number 1 has to be my La Corte de Tarocchi by Il Malaghello. This is the first Il Malaghello deck that I got, and it is the one that sparked my interest for historical decks, Tarot de Marseille, and more pip style decks. Up until I got this deck, I never really had a ton of interest in reading pip style decks, just because I grew up reading RWS, and so it was a new venture for me this year to really explore these historical style decks, and this one is the one that sparked my interest in it. And I think that's why it gets the number 1, because other than my interest in independently published decks, this year has been a lot. I've had a lot of interest in historical decks and Tarot de Marseille. So this deck is just amazing. It is, I believe, out of print now, so I'm sorry if I cause any deck envy. It comes on your usual Il Malaghello sort of beautiful art paper cardstock, and the artwork is just and I love the size, right? It's this like tall, narrow sort of size, but the artwork is very medieval, And I love that, and I think that's what drew me to it, is it reminded me like of an old King Arthur story. And the pips are just stunning. So look at those coins, like they're beautiful. And this deck was the the first one. There's a court card for. I love. There's these little birds all throughout the deck. I love those birds. Those little birds are adorable. But yeah, it's the first deck that really spoke to me. That was a more of a Tarot de Marseille pip style deck, and it really sparked my interest in those kinds of decks. And because of that, and because I just love it, I adore the art in it, I gave it the #1 spot. So those are my top 5. To go over them one more time. So we've got in number 5, the Serpentfire Tarot. In number 4, we have the Spolia Tarot. In number 3, we've got the Efflorescent Tarot. And in number 2, we have the Textured Tarot. And then in number 1, we have the Corte de Tarocchi. And this is the one that I haven't done a review of, and I'll try and get one up here soon, just so the collection is complete for this year. But I do plan on also doing a historical deck sort of series of reviews coming up here pretty soon, so maybe I'll start that with this. But yeah. So those are my top 5 decks. I hope you enjoyed them. If you have any of these decks, let me know what you think about them in the comments below. Let me know what your top 5 decks of the year are. Even if you did it in a video, feel free to link your video in the description below. I would love to see it. I super appreciate you guys all coming to hang out with me and to look at tarot decks and flip through them and talk about them. I just had my first live, and that was a lot of fun, so I'll be doing those more often. I'll be sure to always post this sort of live notification where the video sort of goes up in a placeholder and it tells you what time it's at, and you can set a reminder. So I'll always try to do that, so you can set yourself a reminder and know ahead of time when I'm going to do them. And just be sure that you like and you comment and you subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit the little bell so you get notifications of when I post new videos or when I'm doing a live. I super appreciate all of you. I hope everyone had an amazing holiday. Let me know how your year went. I would love to hear from you all. Thank you so much. And remember, everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind, always. Bye, guys.